Good afternoon and welcome to Extension Eats, our Facebook Live cooking show. We are at the research home at the Family Resiliency Center located in Doris Kelly Christopher Hall. This is the Research and Policy Center at University of Illinois in the College of Agricultural, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences, focusing on food, family, and health research. My name is Beth Peralta, and I've got two colleagues here with me today. We're going to share 3 tasty and super easy to prepare spring recipes, focusing on 3 of our favorite produce picks for spring. So I'm going to send it back to Mary Liz to get us started on the first recipe.
Thank you, Beth. I'm Mary Liz Wright, and I'm a nutrition and wellness educator. And this morning we're going to make sauteed radishes. Even the most inexperienced gardener can grow radishes in their garden. Plant a seed, and in about 4 to 6 weeks, you've got beautiful little red roots that we mostly eat raw. But if you've ever gardened, you know sometimes you can have an overabundance of radishes, and what are you going to do with all those radishes? So this morning we're going to saute them. So I'm going to start in a 12-inch skillet. I've got it heated on medium. I'm going to put just about a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And I'm going to stir that around, coat the pan a little bit. And then I'm going to add about a pound of radishes that I have washed and taken the tops and bottom of the root end off and cut them into bite-sized pieces. Now don't throw those tops away, particularly if you've grown them in your garden, because you can add those to other saute, stir fries, or even in a salad, and they make a nice spicy little addition. So we're going to cook these radishes for 10 to 15 minutes. You know, the word saute means to jump, and so we want to make sure the heat is high enough so that they're sizzling and that the radishes have room to move around in the pan. In addition to the oil, this is a super simple recipe. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. If you are on a salt-restricted diet, don't add any salt. And then a little bit of pepper. We can use freshly ground pepper just to taste. And then after it cooks for a little while, I'm going to be adding some fresh dill. And just to show you what we're going to do with the fresh dill, there's some stems attached. Nobody wants to eat that. We're just going to cut the stems off, and then from the leafy end, we're going to chop it. You can also use kitchen shears for this, but all we need is about a tablespoon of the little leafy green bits of the dill plant. I really wish you could smell this because it smells so good. So we're going to let those radishes cook for 10 to 15 minutes. When we're talking about radishes, they're high in several vitamins and minerals, potassium, vitamin C, a little bit of vitamin A, quite a bit of fiber, and you can grow many, many different varieties. They come to us from Asia, and they come either the very large daikon radishes, which you've seen in some Asian restaurants, to the teeny tiny little French breakfast radishes, which are my favorite. White to red, elongated or round. There's even a variety called Easter egg that comes in various different colors, and they're really fun to put on your spring table. So while these cook, I think we're going to shift it over to Caitlin, and Caitlin's going to be making something that I've recently acquired a taste for. I was not a fan for many years, but Caitlin, take it away.
Now, for the radishes, what I thought of when you were describing the colors was about watermelon radishes, where you can cut those in half.
They're so
and
cool.
The inside looks like a watermelon.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah, kind of a two-toned little root there. So yeah, they all taste about the same. Kind of a spicy taste, a crunch when you bite into it. And once these have sauteed, they're gonna mellow out as far as that goes.
Yeah. So the recipe that I'm going to start working on is using asparagus. And so we are going to start by just washing these first very carefully. Try not to lose them all. So I'm going to come over here to our sink, and we're going to run them under water just enough. Because you never know when there's just a few little bits of maybe dead leaves or plant material.
How much asparagus is this, Caitlin?
So this is about 30 spears. So this would be considered, oops, I just lost one spear. Now we're down to 29. And since we're going to roast them, so they're going to be in the oven, I am going to let these dry off just a little bit because we're going to coat them in some oil. And of course, as you may know, water and oil don't mix so well. And one thing that I really like about asparagus is how easy they are to prep. You don't need to pull out a knife. You don't need to pull out a cutting board. We are literally going to bend it until it snaps in one piece. If you don't like it this big, again, you can snap it one more time. I'm going to put that in our bowl. And the more comfortable you get with it, you can do a few at a time. And if our camera can even pick up that nice snap. So this is something that your kids can help out with because it really doesn't require any knives. It's just looking at their hands and being able to bend those. So we'll get these finished up. We'll toss them in a little bit of oil. Or if you really like them real long, you could always leave them in that longer size.
I think that looks like a lot of fun. That would be something I think kids would like to do.
Yeah, so if you've got younger kids or even older kids that want to help out in the kitchen, or you say you are going to help out in the kitchen today, we're going to make you bend and break some asparagus.
Yeah.
And we all know that children who are allowed to help in the kitchen have a tendency to eat more vegetables.
Yeah, and that actually is a really good point. I have a question from Seisha.
Okay.
Says, how do I get my kiddo to try radishes? And I think that question could apply to any kind of fruits or vegetables.
Right.
So what are your tips for?
Well, I think that I might try planting them. You know, you can grow radishes in a flower pot. So if they're a part of the growing process and they watch those little seeds sprout and they wait that 4 to 6 weeks for the root to develop, who wouldn't want to taste that?
Yeah, that's a great idea. And then I think, like you said, having them help out in the kitchen.
Yes.
So if radishes are new, they might not want to try it the first time, but maybe they like playing with it and they like
Sure.
sniffing it.
Right.
Doesn't always have to end up in the mouth. It can end
No,
up on the
and-
fingers.
Right.
You know, we also know that, what is it, children have to try something 20 times sometimes before they realize that they like it.
Sometimes more.
And sometimes more. Sometimes you can be almost 50 and then realize that you like asparagus.
Yeah.
There you go.
So these, now that we've got them prepped, these I tossed in a little bit of oil, and we're going to put them in our preheated oven at 400 degrees. I'm going to let these cook for about 10 minutes. If you like them more or softer, you can leave them in there for 15, 20 minutes. But if you like them nice and crisp, like we're going to do today, 10 minutes should be plenty.
Okay.
And then I'm going to prepare our dressing, but first I'm going to let Beth start on her recipe, and we'll come
Okay.
back to my dressing.
All right. Well, we do have another question.
Okay.
And this is back to Mary Liz's recipe again. It's from Emily,
Okay.
who wants to know about the difference between using fresh or dry dill.
Oh, thank you, Emily. I intended to bring that up. Yes, and if you don't have fresh, always use dry. The ratio is 3 to 1, fresh to dry. The dry tends to be more pungent. And also, if you are not a fan of dill, you can use parsley. Or if you don't have any of those, use nothing. It's quite all right. It's anything goes.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to bring up. When you're cooking in the kitchen, you have a recipe. It's helpful to follow it to get you started, but you can really make it your own.
Right. The only
And-
thing
yeah.
that you really have to watch is cake.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of baking, probably for that reason, because I like to just do what I want to do in the kitchen. So our third recipe is going to highlight strawberries, which is not quite in season yet in Illinois. And I know some of you who are watching may have had 5 to 8 inches of snow last night, so there's definitely no strawberries on their way soon to you. So right now they're coming from other parts of the country. These came from California, but they're actually in pretty good shape. They're very nice and red and ripe. We just bought these this morning. When you're looking for strawberries, you want to look for those that are like a deep red color and that don't have soft spots, that don't have mold growing on them, and you can prepare them really easily. So you store them in the fridge for 1 to 3 days in the package they came in, And you don't want to wash them until right before you're going to get ready to use them, because washing them early results in them, ripening almost a little too quickly. So we've got 2 strawberries here today. We had a question before the broadcast from Matt about how do you know if a strawberry is ripe? So I've got 2 different strawberries here. This one is definitely ripe. It's that nice deep red color that we're looking for. It's not overripe, so there's no bruised or soft spots throughout. So that one's ready to go. This one is a little on the underripe side. So you can see it has the whitish green top close to the leaves, and then it's also not quite as deep of a red. So while you could still eat this one, it just might not be as flavorful as the other one that came in the container.
And Beth, the other thing about berries is that we know that once they've been harvested, they're not going to ripen on your counter.
Right.
You get, with the strawberry, you get what you get.
Right. So that's why it's really good to be paying attention when you're at the store.
Yes.
And if you're making strawberries at home or looking for strawberries later this year at the market, you might be just being really careful with which ones you select. So, how is the volume? Can you guys hear us really well on the computer? Okay, great. I know we get the radishes.
Making some noise.
They smell great,
They're
though.
jumping in the pan.
Yeah, they're jumping, and it's a little noisy because when you jump, you make some noise.
Right.
And I've never actually tried sauteed radishes before, so I'm
I'm
really
excited,
excited
yes.
to try these. So we've got our strawberry that's really ripe, and how you prepare it so that you're not chopping away a large piece of the strawberry itself. You're going to want to twist off the leaves with your fingers. So then you just have that little bit left there. And take a knife. I'm using a butter knife, mostly because it's a little safer right now, and it's a pretty ripe strawberry. And you just cut out that little green top. Okay? And then you're ready to go. So we've already prepared our strawberries here. We've got about 1 cup of them.
And that would be another good practice skill for the kids.
Exactly. The kids can use that. They can use a butter knife if they're old enough where you trust them with a butter knife, or they can just do the part of pulling off the leaves. Yeah, it's perfect. One of the other ingredients in this recipe is another fresh herb. We've got fresh mint here that we were able to pick up from the store this morning. Mint smells great, just like the dill does. Fresh, but of course, if you don't have access to fresh mint, or it's a little out of your price range, you could go without. You could look and see if there's dried mint available. You could use also, for a slightly different flavor, since it is a salsa that we're making, you could put a little bit of cilantro in it instead. Or another type of herb that you like. A little bit of oregano might not taste bad here too.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and just chop this, and we're going to make it a pretty rough chop. And I'm doing this with my knuckles basically to protect my fingers. So we're going to then put it back together.
And kitchen shears would work if
Yeah.
you find those easier.
Yeah, I forgot mine at home. So we're doing the fairly rough chop with the knife that we've got available. And it actually releases a lot more of that smell, that flavor of the mint itself. So I'm going to put the knife down.
Beth, what would you recommend if you get mint? We are not using very much for this recipe.
Right.
But what might you do with the rest of it that's in
Oh,
the package?
that's a great idea, because it is a little bit of a stronger flavor. And unless you're making a lot of sweet
I
type
can
of
smell
dishes,
it now over here.
I might not be sure what else to do with it. So Mary Liz had a great idea earlier. You could use it with tea.
With tea, just as you're brewing tea, just toss a little bit of mint in. Or lemonade. I think Caitlin mentioned
Yeah, you
lemonade.
could do some lemonade, get some of that nice citrus, and the mint flavor is a great option.
Yeah, and if you like the flavor of mint, you could even do like an infused water, like mint and blueberries, put them at the bottom of a pitcher, kind of smash them up, muddle them a little bit with a potato masher or a long spoon, and that way you're releasing a lot of that flavor into the water. And that way you don't feel like you're wasting the mint that's
That's
left.
really good. That's a great idea.
We might have to do that later with the mint
Yeah.
we've got left in the fridge.
Let's try that.
Yes.
So I'm looking to see if we have any other questions. Okay, there's that. And so when we get there, we got another question about how else can I eat the recipe. So this is a salsa recipe, and I'm gonna transition to the big mixing bowl. So we've got our strawberries that we're gonna put inside, and so they're nice and like a ruby red. They're perfect. I really like strawberries this time of year. I will buy them sometimes, year round, but the flavor isn't always there. as much in the winter months. So this is a great time of year to be looking at strawberries. And then we're adding to that a cup of cucumber. So it's equal quantity, strawberry and cucumber, and they've both been just kind of roughly diced. We've got some red onion, which is pretty strong.
Yeah, Beth, if I don't like onion, can
Yeah.
I use onion powder or dehydrated
Sure,
onions?
you could use some. I would say onion powder, dehydrated or minced onions. There's probably not
crunchy.
enough liquid in here to make it a little less crunchy.
Yeah,
But yeah, you could use just a little bit of onion powder instead.
Or even just less.
right.
right.
Or you could use a milder onion. Red onion
True.
is very strongly
Yeah.
flavored, so you could use a sweeter
But-
onion
But the red
instead.
onion is pretty in there.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is
That
pretty. It's our third color that we're adding today to our salsa. So this is about a half a cup. And again, like I said, if you don't love onions, you could always reduce the quantity. And I would say too, if you want a bit of a spicier salsa, you could also add some jalapeno
Ooh, yes.
to this as well.
Have the whole sweet, spicy thing going on with the strawberries.
I
It
like
tastes
that.
delicious. And then we've got our mint that we prepared earlier. We're going to put that in the bowl. And this is a great recipe that is really easy because it doesn't require any cooking. So as it starts to get hotter, it's not going to take, any of your oven or stovetop equipment to get this one going. The very last ingredient we've got is just a tablespoon of lime juice. And so we're going to throw that in, mix it in, and then
Now we can also use bottled or fresh lime juice, can't we?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're using fresh lime juice, you can buy a lime and then kind of roll it on the cutting board to kind of release some of the juices, and then cut it. You'll get about a tablespoon from each half.
I've microwaved mine sometimes.
Ooh,
Before,
oh.
just very briefly,
Yeah.
like 5 seconds in the microwave to kind of warm up the lime or
That's
the
a good
lemon.
idea.
Cool. I've never heard of
And
that.
then two, instead of a juicing
Mm-hmm.
appliance, you can just take a fork and stick it into that half a lime
That's my
or
favorite.
lemon.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. That way
Very
you don't have stuff to wash. And
Low equipment.
low maintenance equipment.
Yeah, I'm gonna need the salt and pepper
Okay,
then.
we've got it.
And again, like Mary Liz said, for the radish recipe, if you're on a salt restricted diet for health reasons or just personal preference, you don't. Ooh, we had some fire trucks running past the building. If you heard that excitement, never a dull moment over here. You can do without the salt, but we're just going to add a little bit for some extra flavor. And then pepper is sodium free, so if you're on a salt restricted diet, you don't have to restrict that.
Absolutely.
And so we've
Look
got
how beautiful that is.
super colorful, and there's lots and lots of flavor, and it's very simple. There's only 5 real ingredients here.
And salsa is one of my favorite ways, whether it's a fruit salsa like this or tomato-based salsa, to just eat my vegetables.
Yes.
Because it doesn't feel like I'm eating vegetables.
Right. And you don't have to eat that with a chip.
Mm-mm.
We were talking earlier, Caitlin, about serving that as a side dish with meat
Mm-hmm.
or, use it with other sliced fruits or other vegetables.
Yeah, and you could put it like on top of a fish,
Oh, yes.
or on
that'd
top
be
of
delicious.
like a chicken breast. And we're talking, it might even go really well with like a nice flank steak. I don't know. There's lots of different options
Yeah.
here. So we're gonna put it in this little bowl, and then we've got chips on the side for when we're gonna take a look later.
Yeah.
Caitlin's gonna put them over there in
Looks
our,
so good.
I don't know, presentation zone. Is that what we're calling it?
Sure.
Our little spot where we're gonna have all of our completed recipes. I know we've had some questions coming through already, but if you have more questions about any of these recipes or spring produce, spring fruits and vegetables, please type them in. And if it's something that we can't get to and answer today on the broadcast, if you're listening later, we'll make sure to go back and check them later on today and throughout the week too.
Now, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
So the strawberries, we didn't use the whole container of
Mhm.
strawberries. What other recipes with strawberries do you like to do?
Well,
Or just eat them?
yeah, I was gonna say strawberries don't last very long at my house. I have 2 little kids that just love strawberries, and we will just literally cut them up and just eat them with dinner. But if you want to use them in a recipe, you could actually use them to top cereal in the morning, of course, whether it be oatmeal or dry cereal.
That'd be yummy.
Yeah, you could even cook them down and put them over pancakes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so kind of making like a strawberry syrup in a way, adding just a little bit of sugar to make it a little bit sweet, or honey would work. But yeah, we primarily eat strawberries just as they are because they're one of the favorites of everyone in my house.
Yeah, awesome. Very good.
Very good.
Are we ready to work on the Dijon
I
sauce?
think we are. I just shut the timer off so it wouldn't beep on us.
Very good.
And your asparagus smells like it's
Get a little
Getting-
brown.
yes,
and,
yes.
Yeah,
It's,
so it'll.
it's sizzling around it, as are the radishes. So I think we're in good shape all the way around.
Can we take
Oh,
a quick
wow.
peek
Yeah,
in
why
there
don't you
too?
look into the oven?
All right. Ooh,
Doesn't it
look
look
at that.
beautiful? The bright color is gorgeous.
Yeah. And I'm really enjoying the change of color in the radishes. That almost
Mhm.
Yeah.
pinkish color.
Yeah, they're almost tender. I just forked one, and so I think I'm gonna just turn it down and put it on kind of a holding pattern until we're ready to
Okay.
put it all together.
So we got some Dijon sauce
Yes.
coming up.
So I'm gonna shift this.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
move. I can
We'll-
move out
we'll
of
swap.
over here. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you need this bowl?
I do not.
Thank you. So for the asparagus, you could always eat it plain. I'm a big fan of that too, but if you want to add a little pop of flavor, we're gonna do a dressing. So I've got some Dijon mustard, and to that I'm gonna add some red wine vinegar. And if you don't have red wine or you just don't like it, you could always substitute maybe a balsamic
Yeah.
dressing would be, or a balsamic
even,
vinegar.
Apple cider? Apple
Yeah.
cider vinegar?
Good work.
Definitely different flavors, so you'll decide what you like. And then I've got a mix of dried herbs, so I've got oregano, I've got some thyme, and I've got some black pepper. All of those are going to go in our dressing. And then garlic, which of course, as we've talked earlier, if you don't have fresh garlic and you want to use powder, that's great. Or if you are not a garlic fan, I know there are some people that are not garlic fans, you could always leave it out entirely too. And to that, we'll just mix it up. And when our asparagus is out of the oven, we'll sprinkle that over. And then our last addition will be some feta cheese. So again, if you don't like feta cheese, leave it out. But if you do, it's a nice salty addition, so you don't need very much of it because it'll add some nice flavor.
And I imagine you could probably use Parmesan cheese, like a
Yeah.
grated Parmesan, or
Parmesan would be really yummy here
Yeah.
too. Yes.
Good idea.
All right, so let's get those.
You ready for it to come out?
Yes, please.
And do you want it on top of that?
Sure. We'll
Okay.
we'll put it to the cutting board,
Okay.
and I'll get my plate ready.
Ooh, those look fantastic.
Leave it
Yeah.
there for you. It does.
Yeah, I wish there was a way to do like smells
Smell-o-vision.
through Facebook, so that way everyone could smell how great it is.
I know we're still working on that technology, and by we I mean whoever's out there that wants to work on that technology.
Yeah, definitely not Caitlin and I and Miriam.
No.
No, we're good. So, if you are family styling it at dinners, you can put them all on one plate, or as I tend to do anymore, I'll just, have everybody pick off right from the foil here.
So, Caitlin, how many servings is that? I know, I realize as much as you want, but
It's
um,
vegetables as much as you
right,
want.
right.
So this would be a good size serving for about 4 people.
Okay.
But yeah, if you wanted to make it
Depending
2
on if asparagus is their favorite or their
or not.
right, or not.
Depending on your family. All right, last one here. It's a really nice sized dish for that too.
Perfect.
And
Let
then
me get
we've
this out of the
got just a little bit of our dressing here, just to kind of drizzle over. Get some nice color in there.
That does just smell really fantastic. And
Yeah.
I do a lot of roasted asparagus at home, but I haven't put much on it besides just basic olive oil, salt, and pepper. I think this is a great way to kind of elevate the flavors. That's really easy, and anyone can really do it at home.
There
You
we
know,
go.
we cook it on the grill sometimes too, and you can just have it either in our little grill baskets, and I just put a little bit of tin foil down. But that way you don't have to heat up your oven.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
especially
the temperature
in summer.
is going to get warmer.
Yeah.
We hope.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Maybe, hopefully.
Right.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Okay.
All right.
So are we ready to finish the radishes?
I think so.
So they've been cooking, about 15 minutes, and you can tell that they're browned a little bit on the edge, and I really like that. You could also do this in the stove, like we do all roasted vegetables, pretty high temp. Put them on the tin foil, just as Caitlin did the asparagus. So I'm going to finish this off by adding around a tablespoon of dill. And we're going to heat that just a little so that it gets super fragrant.
So pretty.
And
It's a
just
great
wilts a
contrast.
little bit. Isn't that beautiful? Like you said, they've kind of turned pink. And if we had used some different varieties of radishes, imagine how this would look. All different colors.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to shut that off, and we're going to plate this up. Now again, just like the asparagus, what really is a serving of this? As much as you want. But if you do later on, we're going to be posting these recipes, and the serving size for the nutrition information is around 3/4 of a cup. Radishes are super low in calories, and like I said, they have a fair amount of some nice vitamins and minerals. And just this makes a really nice side dish, particularly if you are tired of the raw radishes and dip that are ubiquitous on our spring tables. So
Yeah, I think that looks
these over
great.
here.
I love the
Beautiful.
color.
I might put just a little more dill on top, just to dress it up a little bit.
So
Yeah.
similar to other ingredients we've had today, what else could be done with dill? Because we do have some extra.
Right, we do have extra. Well, you know, a little salad with some sliced cucumber, some sour cream, little onion, or if you don't like the sour cream, do vinegar with a little sugar in it. Sprinkle that fresh dill in, and you have like a homemade fresh dill pickle.
Nice.
That sounds great. And yeah, we do have actually leftover cucumber from the salsa.
There you go.
Ooh.
I also like to, when I make tuna salad or salmon salad, I'm not so much a sweet pickle relish person. I like more of a dill flavor. So when you're making your tuna salad, just kind of cut up some dill pickles, add a little fresh dill to it. It is absolutely wonderful.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some recipes that are ready to go.
Yes.
I know I put out 3 forks, so let's
Okay.
each grab a
Shall we?
bite.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I'm gonna sneak around the other side here.
Okay. So,
Very good.
and like we said, we're going to go ahead and share the recipes. We are going to wait to post them until after the broadcast, and then we will make sure to post that link when it's available. Caitlin's getting some salsa.
I'm trying.
Yeah, salsa's not known for being neat. I'm going to try the roasted radish since
And
I've
look at
never
me
done it before.
eating asparagus. Here we go.
I'm gonna say
Are we ready? Cheers.
Oh, I already ate.
Oh my goodness. That is delicious.
Good.
I love the Dijon.
Yeah, that
Oh
looks
my gosh.
fantastic.
You know what? Skip the dill. You could make that dressing and pour it over these
Ooh.
radishes, and it would be
It's like-
really good
It's like
also.
a combo.
Right.
And I will say, I do like how the radishes are a little bit more mellow.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll make it more,
Those are good. More palatable.
yeah, to some people that might not be too sure about them. It kind of reminds me of like what a turnip turns into when you bake it.
But better than a turnip.
Yeah.
Turnip tends to be a little bit sharper, more almost bitter. This
Yeah.
is very mellow.
It's very good. And
Very
how about
good.
the salsa, Caitlin?
Is it
Thumbs up on the
wonderful?
salsa.
Good
So
stuff.
good.
Okay, so we will share the recipes after the broadcast. I want to go ahead and check and see with our question takers to see if we have any last minute questions. Looks like it's a no. So share any questions after you've had a chance to watch, or if you're brand new to watching it at home, please type them in. We'll keep an eye on questions. But for more recipe inspiration or more ideas on using spring produce, you can follow us on Facebook, both at University of Illinois Extension, Illinois Nutrition Education programs, and we're going to be posting the recipes later on today on Facebook, but also on our website where we post our recipes, which is at go.illinois.edu/eat-move-save. All right, thanks for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, it was a lot of fun and delicious food.
Yeah.
You got to make this, folks. Try them
Yes.
out.
So good.
All right,
So
and
good.
thanks for watching from home. And we'll be, with you hopefully not too distant future doing more Facebook Live Extension Eats. All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.